first half of the 2nd century, there was a great change in the urban layout of Sippori following the increase in population as a result of the Bar Kochba revolt. I will only mention that according to the decrease of Emperor Hadrian, after the suppression of the Bar Kochba revolt, Jews were forbidden to settle in and around Jerusalem. As a result, the Jews settled in other cities such as Tzipori, Tiberias and Jaffa. It was decided to increase the city municipal area to the east of the hill, and this is actually what we see in front of us. So, the lower city, as you can see, was established on an area of 60 dunams or 15 acres. Some of the new streets connected the Acropolis, the old city, and the new center. The new construction area was intended, among other things, to house Tzipori Commercial Center and possibly also its social center. One of the most important buildings is the Nile Mosaic villa, which was built at the beginning of the Byzantine period on the remains of building from the Roman period and was probably destroyed in the late Byzantine period. Before entering it, you can see here part of a Roman bath. A typical Roman bath included a system of rooms with different temperatures. A lukewarm room called tepidarium, warm room, which called calidarium, and cold room, frigidarium. The order used by visitors changed from place to place. A typical flow was first entering the lukewarm room, then moving to the warm room, returning to the lukewarm room, and ending in the cold room. At the base of the construction concept of Roman bath is the heating system called hypocaust. The concept seems simple, but the implementation required in-depth engineering knowledge. In a Roman bath, a room had a double floor. On the lower floor were pillars, as you can see here, about 50 to 60 centimeter high, and on top were stone slabs that formed the floor of the warm room. Adjacent to the walls of the warm room, on the lower floor level, fire burned. The flames and the hot air flew in the space between the lower and upper floor and between the pillars. The remains of the hypocaust pillars are the clearest archaeological features of a Roman bath. In a typical big city, a multi-activity center developed around the bath that included a sports center, stalls, and more. An interesting point is that in the early days of the Roman Empire, the baths were used at the same time by both women and men. But by the time the bath arrived to the land of Israel, it was already forbidden. Sometimes there were separate baths for men and women, but in most cases the separation was done by the hour. One of the most important buildings is the Nile Mosaic villa, which was built at the beginning of the Byzantine period on the remains of buildings from the Roman period and was probably destroyed in the late Byzantine period. The building has three main wings connected by corridors. In the center of the western wing is a hall with a basilica pattern of 2 rows of columns. Adjacent to it are various rooms, most of which include Nile-related celebration mosaic. The mosaics are simply spectacular. See the geometric shapes with an impressive level of accuracy. Also the images depicting human figures and creatures from Greek mythology. For example, we see a centaur symbolize, among other things, lawlessness. The connection between creatures from Greek mythology, created centuries and more BCE, presented in a building from the Christian Byzantine period, is undoubtedly interesting. See the Amazons. The Amazon in Greek mythology is a warrior woman. The Amazons saw themselves as the daughters of Ares, the god of war. This is the largest room here. You can see a spectacular mosaic depicting celebrations held in Egypt during the height of the Nile. This is next to hunting scenes. Based on the dimensions of the building, the large number of rooms, and the fact that no elements were found that characterize a residential building, it can be concluded that this is a public building, probably the municipal basilica, which is the most important public building in the city. The basilica is mentioned in Byzantine sources as a place where municipal assemblies, discussions, and the like were held. No symbols were found in the building that necessarily linked it to the Jews or Christian community that lived here. However, from the description that appear on the floor, all indicate that whoever designed the mosaic understood Roman art and knew the meaning of the classical figures depicted in the various mosaics. It can be said with certainty that the Jews of Tzipori, who were the majority of the city population even in the Byzantine period, also enjoyed this impressive building. We are at the end of the video, and as usual, we will end with a question. Who was the person most identified with Sippori in the Roman period? The answer will appear in 5 seconds.